What's up, guys? Well, I gotta tell you this exciting thing that happened today. It was exciting but freaking scary to me. I had a headache earlier, and so I'd canceled my live show for tonight, and so I get a phone call that says you're on hold to speak to Officer Stacy Harris, and this is the Federal Reserve. So it transfers me to this lady. And this lady goes, "Am I speaking to Georgina Payne?" I go, "Yes." And I go, "What's this about, the Federal Reserve?" And she's like, "Well, we think that your identity has been stolen, and there's been some criminal activity with your bank account." And I just had a problem with my bank account. But she goes, "Do you have 5 bank accounts?" I was like, "No." And she says, excuse me. She says, "Okay." She goes, "This phone call is going to be recorded." And I go, "Okay. Why? What's going on?" And she's like, "Well, I'm going to read you these statements." Or she goes, "First of all, get a pen and paper. I want to give you my badge number." And so at this point, I'm like, "What?" And so she gives me her badge number, and she goes, "I want to give you the court file case number and the court case number." And I said, "Okay." And she reads me this long number, and she goes, "I'm going to give you the warrant number." And I'm like, "What? Warrant number for what?" And I was tripping. And she said, she goes, "I'm going to read these charges to you. I would appreciate it if you don't say anything during them. At the end, we'll talk about it." She goes, "We're pretty sure it's not you, but your identity has been stolen." And I'm like, "Okay." She goes, "But if you don't cooperate, you can be arrested. And that if I didn't cooperate, that I'd lose my Social Security disability. I would go to jail for 30 years, $50,000 fine." She went on, and she was on point. It sounded like she knew what she was talking about. I was like, dang, I'm freaking out a little bit. And she goes, "Okay, I need your address." I go, wait. You know who I am. You called me, so you should know my address. So she read me my address. I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's it." And that kind of shut me up a little bit. I was like, "What?" And she said, "I'm going to read you this court case documentation, and then we're going to call the local sheriff department to where you're at, and we're going to speak to them. We'll all be on the line together." And I'm like, "What?" And so she reads this to me. And 2 weeks ago, there was a $240,000 deposit made from supposedly one of my bank accounts made to a Colombian bank. And then 2 days later, a $90,000. And I'm like, "Dude, it's not me. I don't have no money. I barely have any money in my bank." And I said, I started asking. I go, what? She goes, "The DEA is involved." I said, "So there's drugs involved?" I go, "What kind of drugs?" She goes, "Ma'am, that's not important. That's not what we're after here. We're trying to clear your name." I'm like, "What?" And so I'm very confused, a little scared. Well, really scared. That 30 years didn't sound too good. First thing I thought, who's going to take care of my cats? But anyway, I thought, you know what? I'm going to call my daughter and have her on my other phone while this lady has me on hold. I'm going to have my daughter listening to this. I couldn't figure out how to record the phone call. So my daughter was at work, and so I called another friend, and I got her on the phone. I had already been on the phone 15, 20 minutes. And I got my other friend on the phone, and they're listening. I said, "Don't say nothing." And so the lady comes back online, and I unmuted it, and she says, "Okay, there's going to be a call coming to your phone from your Josephine County Sheriff's Department." And I be gosh darn, the call came in, and it was from the Josephine County Sheriff's Department. She said the officer's name is Laredo Alfonso or something like that. And I'm thinking, well, I know most of the cops in this little town, and I don't know that name. And I was still scared, though. And she says, or I get the phone call, and he calls, and he says, "Is this Georgina Payne?" I go, "Yes." And he said, this is a big deal. He goes, are you still located at this address? I go, yes, I am. But before he called, let me tell you something. Before he called, I asked her, I go, why are you warning me? I could like run. And she says, because we don't think you did this. We think that your identity has been stolen. And so that had me convinced, okay, but if I didn't cooperate, I could get in trouble. And so he says to me, he tells me my address, and he says, okay. I said, wait. I said, what I want to know, though, is how do I know you're really in Grants Pass? I said, are you in Medford, which is a town over from me? And he goes, no, I'm in Grants Pass. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm thinking, well, okay, he's really in Grants Pass. And I thought, well, it'd be easy to call and get the sheriff department number. I don't know how they would use it to do that, but I'm thinking. So my next question was, okay, so wait. So I told him stop. He started asking me questions. And I go, I want to know who I'm talking to. I said, I need to know that you're really from Grants Pass. I said, is there a dog racing park here in Grants Pass? And he said, ma'am, that's not important. We're trying to get to the bottom of this. And I said, well, I need to know where you're from. He goes, I already told you, I'm in Grants Pass. And he gave me the address of the freaking jail, the courthouse. He gave me that address. I know where it's at. And I said, but I need to know that you're really in Grants Pass. I said, so is there a dog track here in Grants Pass, a racetrack for dogs? And he said, ma'am, I already told you. He goes, okay, fine. Here's the answer to your question. Yes. I said, wrong. And I hung up. So, I got him on that. So I called the number that he called from, and it was the sheriff's department. And I talked to a lady, and she said this has been happening quite a bit in this area. And what they're doing is somehow getting the number from the sheriff's department, programming it that they're calling from that number. And the end game is to get information from us, like bank account, because I didn't give them anything. They hadn't got to the point yet. They were trying to scare me. They did scare me, though. I was pretty scared. I was really scared. I heard 30 years and $50,000. I'm like, oh, shit. Who's going to take care of my cats? And, excuse that bad word, but I was freaking out. And anyway, she said, number one, they wouldn't have called you. So that's kind of what I thought. But she said they're very quick. She said they're coming up with court names. They're coming up with badge numbers, court paper numbers, and warrant numbers. And she said that it is very realistic that's who they are. But yeah, so that was freaky, guys. That freaked me out. Totally got my heart racing. It made my headache come back after the phone call. But anyway, that's what happened today, and that's why I thought I'd do a video about it. So don't take any scam phone calls. Don't believe anything like that ever. Get proof. I was just lucky that I didn't say anything that they could get like bank account numbers or something like that, or driver license number. They did. Here's a cat crawling on my back. Do you see that? Anyway, they did have my address though, and it's just weird, just really weird. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to touch base with y'all, tell you what was going on. So you guys take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll talk to you on the next one. And don't take any scam calls. See you later.